The 4th of July marks America's Independence Day, but American settlers' desire to be free came before 1776. Many of the colonists saw themselves as a modern version of ancient Israel. As Paul Strand reports, they wanted what God gave the ancient Israelites, liberty and freedom from tyrants.
In wilderness like this, some 100 Puritan settlers, led by the Reverend Thomas Hooker, made their way in 1636 to what became Connecticut's capital, Hartford. It was a land wild and untamed, and they asked Hooker how they should govern it. What he preached May 31st, 1638, as it says at the base of this statue, sowed the seeds of free constitutional government in America.
The main idea in Hooker's sermon was this: the foundation of authority is laid firstly in the free consent of the people. That's the idea that helped shape the Connecticut Constitution, which then many decades later helped shape the American Constitution.
It's why many call Hooker the father of American democracy. Behind the Hartford statue of these praying settlers, a plaque says, "Here they established the form of government upon which the present Constitution is modeled."
Which starts off how? We the people.
Historian William Federer authors the online historical lessons called American Minute. He said this revolutionary idea of democratic rule came after 6,000 years of almost nothing but kings and emperors.
And they believed in a top-down form of government, where God gives all the power and rights to the king, and he's God's lieutenant who dispenses it to the people.
Colonialists like Hooker turned that on its head.
And America's founders, when they got the chance, they wanted to run away from a king, and they flipped it and made the people the king.
Michael Medved, radio talk show host and author of The American Miracle, summed up their united belief this way.
All of us have the same ultimate sovereign, God Almighty, but that God Almighty does not appoint and designate crowned heads over us. The power comes from the people.
John Jay, the first Chief Justice, said the people are the sovereign of this country.
They did seem bound, though, by a common faith foundation.
The idea of providence, the idea that they were doing God's work, that this American experiment was ultimately an American miracle.
But these foundations and principles didn't form here in the colonies. Their origin was a long, long time ago in a place far, far away. For that part of the story, we turn to Chris Mitchell in Israel.
Thanks, Paul. Many pilgrims and Puritans crushed under European kings wanted the government and liberty God gave to the ancient Israelites.
When Moses took the children of Israel out of Egypt, that was the first instance in world history of an entire nation with no king.
One thing after another was revolutionary in this Hebrew republic, such as the tribes electing their own leaders, and that all people were to be treated as equals.
Israel was the beginning of the concept of equality on planet Earth.
The Hebrew Republic was the first nation with no standing army.
You have a king, he has an army to enforce his will. In Israel, every man was in the militia and armed and ready at a moment's notice to defend his family and his community.
It was the first nation where everyone was taught to read, so everyone could know the law.
Israel had no police. Not only did everyone get taught the law, everyone was responsible to help enforce the law.
Most colonial Christians shared this crucial belief with ancient Israelites. There's a God watching everyone, wanting them to be fair and holding them accountable in the future. That creates a conscience.
If everybody in the country believes this, you can maintain complete order with no police, maximum liberty.
This is what Thomas Hooker and other New England pastors and lawmakers were looking at as a model.
And then this became the model for the other constitutions of the states, eventually the U.S. Constitution, and that allowed America to blossom into this amazing experiment of the people getting to be king and each individual citizen accountable to God.
And that's how ancient Israel and colonial America are linked more than most people would ever know.